Hey there. This presentation is all about magnesium. It's a pretty key nutrient and a lot of sort deficient. So let's dive right in. So why is magnesium important? Well, it's a major mineral and it's involved in many functions in the human body. Here are some of the key functions. It's actually a cofactor for over 300 of the enzymes and their biochemical reactions that occur in our body every day. An example of just one subset of those would be our digestion, which needs countless enzymes, and magnesium is required for those. It also helps to build muscles and maintain nerve function, helps to promote a healthy heart, and also involved in sustaining an optimal immune system. Some of the critical processes, again, that the human body does every day that need magnesium are energy production, glucose metabolism, regulation of stress, bone mineral metabolism, cardiovascular regulation, synthesis and activation of vitamin D. So it may improve quantity and quality of sleep, and potential mechanisms for this are its ability to calm the central nervous system by binding to GABA receptors on our cells and increasing GABA activity, which increases the production of melatonin and decreases the production of cortisol. It's also involved in the synthesis of DNA, RNA, and proteins. The RDA for magnesium is between 310 to 360 milligrams per day for women and between 400 to 420 milligrams per day for men. Now you want to keep in mind that the RDA is based on the amount necessary to prevent deficiency for the average person. So this is preventing observed deficiencies. It's not the same as promoting optimal health. And then you got to ask yourself what average is, because it's based on the current population, and over half to 2/3 of the people in the current population are not generally healthy. So probably most of us are going to need more than the RDA. So what are our sources of magnesium? Well, there are a lot of healthy foods that are really good sources of magnesium. Lots of variety in here. Pick the stuff that you like. You don't have to eat something you don't like. Particularly dark leafy greens like Swiss chard, kale, spinach, like your mustard and collard greens. And then green vegetables like broccoli, asparagus, green beans, green peas. Also in seeds like pumpkin seeds and nuts, almonds or cashews, other nuts as well. Found in beans like black beans, kidney beans, lima beans, whole grains, quinoa, brown rice, and whole wheat. And just a note here, technically, quinoa is not a grain, it's a seed, but it does tend to be classified as a grain. Also can be found in soy products, and you want to look for whole soybeans or fermented soybean products, not processed products like tofu. And you also want to look for organic. And if you're wondering why, check out the Clean Eating presentation, which is all about clean sources of food. So it can also be found in fruit like bananas, raisins, avocados, also dates and prunes. It's in fatty fish like salmon, tuna, mackerel, also sardines. It's in dairy products like milk and plain yogurt. You can also find it in dark chocolate and in mineral water. So you want to keep in mind that the body needs other nutrients to also absorb magnesium properly. B1 or thiamine is one of them, and you can find that in things like tuna, romaine lettuce, asparagus, mushrooms, spinach, sunflower seeds, green peas, tomatoes, eggplant, Brussels sprouts, or B6, also in tuna, cod, spinach, bell peppers, garlic, cauliflower, bananas, broccoli, celery, asparagus, cabbage, mushrooms, kale, collard greens, Brussels sprouts, watermelon, Swiss chard. I want you to look at the overlap here in the foods that have magnesium and the foods that have B1 and B6, because this is why whole foods provide the best medicine, because they have the nutrients that we need together in synergy, because that's what nature does for you, as opposed to supplements. Then we also need vitamin D to help absorb magnesium properly. And the best way to get vitamin D is sunshine. You can also get it in a very limited number of foods, one of them being cod liver oil. And if you're interested in more about vitamin D, check out the vitamin D presentation. So in spite of the range of foods that provide magnesium, many people are deficient. And this is actually defined as a subclinical deficiency. So we're not showing overt symptoms of disease. And this is not just in the US, it's a worldwide issue. And some of the potential causes for this, one would be soil issues. So we have excess heavy metals that have contaminated our soil. There's a lack of minerals due to erosion, unbalanced fertilization formulas with too much of one nutrient and not another antagonize the absorption of magnesium in plants, and that affects our food supply. Our diets consist mostly of refined foods rather than whole foods, and they also include foods that increase the need for magnesium, like if you drink a lot of soft drinks, they have phosphorus in them. Our increased intake of vitamin D supplements can contribute to the magnesium deficiency. And this is because most of these supplements are a form of calcium, which competes with magnesium. So a little bit of a oxymoron there. We need vitamin D to absorb magnesium, but if we're getting all of our vitamin D through supplements, then we could be counteracting that. Then aluminum, which also reduces absorption of magnesium, is present in cookware, deodorants, certain over-the-counter and prescription medications, baking powder, and baked goods. Alcohol consumption, overconsumption, decreases absorption of magnesium as well as other nutrients. And then certain health issues can contribute to malabsorption issues. So irritable bowel disorders like Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis, as well as IBS, celiac disease, gastroenteritis, physical things like resection of the small intestine, and that would include some of the gastric bypass procedures, or if you've had removal of all or part of your colon, and then ileostomy patients will all have malabsorption issues. And that's not just for magnesium, that would be for most nutrients. We can use blood tests to measure our magnesium levels. These are measuring the serum levels, and they may not be indicative of the levels that actually exist in cells and tissues, but better than nothing to give us a ballpark for where we are. If you're actually seeing signs of deficiency, some of the normal signs could be mental symptoms of aggression, anxiety, confusion, disorientation, or irritability, or physical symptoms of ataxia, heart issues, twitching of facial muscles, muscle cramps or spasms, muscular weakness, pain, photosensitivity, tremors, or vertigo. And then more severe symptoms would be depression, psychotic behavior, even seizures, convulsions. For cardiovascular, that might be arrhythmias, coronary artery disease, heart failure, high blood pressure. You might experience calcifications of soft tissues, parathyroid hormone resistance or impaired function. You might experience cataracts or hearing loss, migraine headaches, osteoporosis, and a suppressed immune response. So while whole foods are definitely our best preferred source, it may be necessary to supplement if we're trying to address some serious symptoms. Magnesium supplements are recommended for a lot of different reasons. One would be frequent muscle spasms or cramps, and this includes restless leg syndrome, sleep issues, mood issues, often recommended as laxatives, or simply to support our mitochondria function. We also know that magnesium is not generally absorbed easily by the body. It needs some help, some of those nutrients we talked about. And what you'll see is a term called bioavailability that refers to the amount of a substance, in this case magnesium, that can actually be assimilated by the body. If it can't be assimilated, it can't be used. So to increase bioavailability, a lot of the magnesium supplements attach it to a transporting substance or compound. Keep in mind that some of the same issues that will contribute to deficiencies or malabsorption will prevent absorption from supplements as well as foods. So if you don't have enough B1 or B6, it doesn't matter how many magnesium supplements you take, you may not absorb very well. If you are getting your magnesium sourced from poor quality soil, then it may not be absorbed very well. So think about all those conditions that affect the quality of the magnesium and the absorption factors, because they will apply to supplements as well. And then certain genetic variations. These can impact our ability to actually absorb or utilize magnesium. They may affect our ability to absorb or methylate the B vitamins. And they also certain variations may affect some of the other compounds that magnesium is chelated to. So again, kind of important to know our genetic profile. So what types of magnesiums will we find? Well, one of the biggest classes of magnesium supplements is magnesium salts. And the salt forms of magnesium are going to be less expensive, but they typically cause diarrhea. And this is because the unabsorbed salt draws water into the intestines and stimulates gastric motility, stimulates that diarrhea. That's why they are so effective as a laxative. They are also often used to treat symptoms of too much stomach acid, quote, such as heartburn or acid reflux. But in reality, most of the time, heartburn and acid reflux is actually caused by too low stomach acid rather than too high stomach acid. Different topic altogether. If you're going to take a salt form internally, then you want to begin with a baseline dose, increase it each day until you experience loose bowels. Then you want to back down one dose, and that's your daily maintenance dose. It's going to be kind of individual. So for example, start with 250 milligrams, take that day 1. Day 2, take 500 milligrams. Day 3, take 750 milligrams. Let's say you experience loose bowels on day 3, so then you're going to back down to 500, and that's your maintenance dose. Some of the salt forms you'll find, magnesium oxide, which is an inorganic salt of magnesium and oxygen. It is very, very poorly absorbed. It is like the worst absorbed form of magnesium supplement out there. It's like a less than 5% bioavailability. Magnesium citrate is a very popular one, particularly used as a laxative, but also anxiety, calming to the nervous system, osteoporosis, metabolic syndrome. It has been studied for being helpful in kidney stone prevention, but you want to avoid this form, if you're deficient in iron or copper. Magnesium chloride combines magnesium and chloride. It has higher bioavailability than oxide or citrate. And you usually find this in like an oil that's used topically rather than internally. Magnesium sulfate contains magnesium, sulfur, and oxygen. This is what you see when you buy Epsom salt, used mostly to relieve sore muscles. It's also found to have pain-killing properties. Then magnesium gluconate contains magnesium and a salt of gluconic acid. Aspartate is a salt of aspartic acid. Glutamate, a salt of glutamic acid. And then magnesium L-threonate binds magnesium with rheonic acid. This is actually a formulation that was developed in 2010. It is highly bioavailable, but most of the studies find that it's particularly helpful for brain issues like neuroinflammation and pain relief. And so another thing to remember about the aspartate and glutamate forms is that you want to avoid those if you're prone to migraines or headaches, because these will release either aspartames or glutamates, and those may increase those headaches as well as contribute to depression possibly. Other types are those magnesiums that are chelated to an amino acid, and these are usually better absorbed, more bioavailable, and also less likely to cause diarrhea. Magnesium lactate, it's commonly used to manage digestive issues. It should be avoided by those who have kidney disease or kidney-related problems. Magnesium carbonate typically used as a remedy for heartburn or upset stomach, also as a laxative, and it's also commonly used as a chalk or drying agent. Magnesium malate is chelated with malic acid, particularly helpful for fatigue and some types of pain. Magnesium glycinate is chelated to glycine. It's helpful for musculoskeletal and general anti-inflammatory support. It may also be helpful for depression. Magnesium taurate is chelated to taurine. This is particularly helpful for cardiovascular and blood sugar support, may be helpful for anxiety. It also may interfere with certain medications like insulin, calcium channel blockers, diuretics, or others. So you want to be careful and aware of that. Magnesium orotate is combined with orotic acid. This one may be able to better penetrate cell membranes. It's highly absorbable and it helps support cardiovascular health. Other forms you may see: ionic magnesium, which is dissolvable in water, so it does not need stomach acid to be absorbed. This might be a good form for someone who has low stomach acid. You also may see colloidal magnesium, which is considered to be more marketing hype than anything else. And then you'll also start to see liposomal supplements. These are actually relatively new. They encapsulate the nutrients in phospholipids, which makes them more bioavailable, particularly to getting to target tissues outside the digestive system, because they survive the digestive process. So you really want to think about what issue you're trying to address. If you're just trying to address constipation, then a salt form might be the right form for you. If you're trying to address a different issue or a combination of issues, then you might want to look at another form or even a blend that has multiple forms of magnesium in it. But you want to pay attention to the issue that you're trying to address and which form of magnesium is going to be best suited for that. On the liposomal supplements, because they're relatively new, we do need more research to determine which nutrients can be more bioavailable when delivered that way. Right now, that research is ongoing and kind of mixed reviews there. So to recap, magnesium is a major mineral required for many functions in the human body, can be found in many healthy foods, and that is our preferred source. Many people are deficient in magnesium, and those deficiencies may occur due to food supply and environmental issues, as well as individual health conditions or individual genetics. Supplements may use different forms of magnesium. Some forms are more bioavailable than others, and some forms target different issues than others. Thank you for listening. Hopefully you learned something about magnesium you didn't know, and hopefully you learned something that will be helpful for you pursuing your optimal health. Check out some of our other videos. Have a great day.